to try this experiment where I just talk out loud, and I'm not recording myself, and I can just hear my voice. To find a comfortable place to do this. I want to talk about how this week seems like a major change. This week seems like a major transition. I'm going to have to start this again. Okay. Okay. This week is definitely a major transition. I will be 35 soon, which is scary. And I just had a big shift in my life. I think that when relationships, why do relationships affect our lives so much? I'm less interested in the drama around the relationship and more about like behind the psychology of it. I guess I'm also interested in the growth that happens. Or maybe the silence in between relationships. The silence after a major ending. At this time in life, at this age, really, it does resonate heavily. We're building lives and we're planning futures and we're trying to put ourselves in these places that we're trying to envision ourselves in lives that we think that we're supposed to have. So we might get caught in that trap, or hopefully we are realized enough to recognize that where we are is fine. This reminds me of a Dharma talk. I haven't listened to a Dharma talk in many, many years. But I guess it's kind of like a Dharma talk. It's not. So then when we think about where we are at this age, like mid-30s, it's very, wow, it's such a new experience. It's so different than the 20s. The 20s are very, my experience was, they were sludgy. They were new. They were sludgy. There was sludge. Yeah, there was a lot of sludge. a lot of pain, a lot of growth. Those things always happen. Sometimes my language, I feel limited in this language. Like I cannot fully express my thoughts. I wonder if I had other languages, if I could do something. Maybe I just don't know enough words. That's definitely one thing. I can actively work on that. Which reminds me that I actually always used to get this email every day that was a new word. And I would answer the question. My screen is way too bright. Wow, that's so distracting. Okay. I would answer the question. I would open. It was kind of gimmicky. Or maybe it was like a history quiz. Some kind of quiz. I like those, and I missed that email. Whatever happened to that email? I probably put it in my spam folder and just, there it is. So much in my spam folder. Uniqlo, Dick's. What else did I see? RH. Some random guy's name. Okay. So let's get back to where I was going. Okay. So it's like we're torn because this is the first time in my life where I feel like I stopped running. Like I stopped running. I stopped running for this goal. Not that I don't have goals that I'm running towards, but it's a different pace. It just happened. It just happened. It just happened. So I am going to keep swallowing because I have nothing to drink around me. This is normal. It's like we're finally old enough to have had the time. I hope I'm not talking too closely to this microphone. We've finally developed enough. We've had the time to understand ourselves internally and externally, if that's possible. Probably not, only internally. To find some contentment, hopefully. I feel pretty content, I would say. I do feel... that's a whole nother conversation. But it will, if I can remember, maybe we can come back to it. I have to get a drink. I'm gonna die. You know why? I'm not gonna die. But I was drinking this tea that is not my favorite. So let's come back. Okay, back to it. Got some water. I, for one, love speaking. In my highs, I love singing. In my lows, I might not love it, but I do it. Such that I am a Mercury dominant being. Mercury is my Atma Karka. That is the planet with the highest degree. If you do not understand what that is, then okay. It is interesting. And if you don't care, then oh well. So, My Mercury placement is in Critica. We are actually preparing for I think it's a new moon in Taurus. And I am also resonant with this. Okay, that didn't do anything. It really didn't do anything. What is happening? So here's what happened. I drank this tea and it said that it was a natural, like naturally flavored, which was a bunch of big BS. Also, I trusted Publix. First wrong decision. I know they do a lot of things really well. And this, if mixed correctly, could have been done well. But it was not. And now I am suffering. Oh, it's okay. I want to get back to where I was going. Okay. Oh. I would love to just host my own radio show in my room. Can I do that? I mean, what's really stopping me? I guess the rights to all of the music, right? I don't know how that works. Do people host radio shows in the room? I want it to be like a talk and jam, you know? Like a talks and vibes. I want a vibes and talks. I'm still having a hard time talking. Lately, my body has been so very sensitive to everything. Very sensitive to things. And it seems like this is because I am being very intentional. I don't know where the microphone is. Is it the microphone at the top of the phone or at the bottom of the phone? Because it's like, if it's at the top of the phone, or I don't know. Okay. I'm going to turn it around and talk to the elephant sticker that's on the back of my phone. But you're going to keep hearing me so hollow. Okay. So, there's this is such a unique place to be in life. I think this is the best age so far. This is the best year so far. This is the best week. Why does this feel like the best week of my whole life? That's how it feels. This feels like the best week of my life. I don't know why. Nothing specific, nothing special has happened. I haven't gotten some big fat check. I haven't bought a new house. I didn't get married. I didn't get my dream job. I did, actually, for myself. I did for myself. That's what's changing. It's strange because we have these expectations of who we're supposed to be. We do. We have these expectations of who we're supposed to be. And I don't know about you, whoever you are, but I know that my life has not gone in accordance to plan. Certain things have, But, some people's lives just unfold very linearly. Can I say that? Linearly? It sounds weird if I say it too long. Okay. In a line. In other people's lives, just take a lot more oomph. It's taken a lot of oomph for me. I've had a lot of trials. I think that's what this whole feeling at ease, best week of my life thing is. It's like maybe all of those oomph phases, all of those depths, all of that pain, maybe it's finally, like it's like when you get to a different level, you can get past the first level, second, third, okay, but then sometimes you can't get past the fourth, but then you gotta go back again, and then you can't get past the third, then you gotta go back again, then you get past the third, then you get past the fourth, then you try to go back, you have to take a break because you gotta go to work, then you gotta come back and you gotta go back again, but you can't get back past the third level. That's kind of like how my life has been. And it's been a lot of not ever relating to other people who were my age because they couldn't, I felt like they couldn't really hang. Not because they couldn't hang, but because they couldn't meet me in my experience. And it wasn't a superiority, like it didn't have to do with that. There's something about people who have suffered or who have just dealt with like real intense stuff. And those are the people that I always get close to. Sometimes I regret that decision because they are so hardened that they have not yet become realized to their own shit. So the thing about it is that sometimes it doesn't matter. Well, no. When you first meet these people or when you're around them at the beginning, it's like, it's so refreshing to be around someone who can just like take care of things. So it's rare to be the caregiver amongst caregivers. I wonder if that is received as well as it seems on my end. So it's like this familiarity with people who have just been through a lot. Because it's like you don't have to say anything. It's not performative. Silence is okay. And it's almost like you understand all of the all of the reasons why they may have the vices that they do. And just knowing those things about them, it justifies it in some way. That's a longer conversation, but it is a good one to have. It would be a good one to have. This is what people say, oh, it's trauma bonding. Well, it's like, yeah, it is. But I don't want to reference like trending ideology. One, because I don't know it. Like, I basically live in a cave. I have been living in a cave for a very long time. My interaction with like media is very selective. Very selective, and that's all I'll say at the moment. So tonight I feel like I should set the tone. The tone is me in my high ceilings apartment room. Not even a full apartment, just a room. But funny enough, it's mine, and it's not with someone else. It's not with anyone else. It's not with anyone else. It's just me. And it's not a house, but that's okay. So I love my lights. They make me happy. There's just like this ambiance going on in this room I'm feeling back to me, which is something that happens when you leave long-term relationships. The last relationship I just had was 6 years, or close to 6 years. It was not healthy. Parts of it were healthy. Overall, definitely too long, definitely unhealthy. I don't know. The one before that was 3. And that was even more unhealthy. Why? Because we lived together. And when you live with people who are intense, his intensity was on another level of like mentalism. His level was on a different level of just like mind. I cannot understand what a beautifully like unknown and unexplainable human being. That's the problem. Why is it those ones that I am drawn to? I don't know. I do know. It's like let's get back to being this age. Being at this age, so being realized, whatever that means. I'm saying it in this way that's like you've reflected on the parts of your personality that needed attention, and you've like actively changed them, or you've actively like, yeah, changed habits. A lot of it's habit forming. So I have this, it has been an obsession at times in my life. It has been an obsession at times in my life. I have had these obsessions, highs and lows, with spirituality and like yoga and cleansing the body. It's weird because most people go like the opposite way, where they handle their grief and their trauma and their anger and all of these things. They use like substances, whereas I have done the complete opposite in my life, which at times was even harder because I actually had to sit with what was present, what was existing. So like the reason, well, yeah, I think that what's weird is that sitting in those moments, okay, if I'm looking at it now, when I was in those moments, when they were really strong at the beginning, when they were really strong, there have been multiple times. There have been a lot of years now, at least 15 years now of this. And the first time it happened, I was so young, and I'm trying to figure out, I don't know how much about this, how I'm going to go down this road. I don't really want to go down the road, you know? I'm not trying to go down that road. So let me just figure out in my mind, like, what we're going to do right now. Let me just reel it in. Reel this baby in. I've always had this obsession with being present, or trying as much as I could to be present. I think that it's more of a challenge. And I'm always I'm constantly trying to grow. I'm constantly trying to understand why things are the way they are. So because of that, it's like I want to see clearly, you know? And so I'm not saying I've never had, I've never been a drinker or any of that. I haven't done these things. I have. But I've had more time in my adult life where I had very little of those things. Very little. Not very, very, a normal amount of little, but little. Well, probably less than normal, but not little. You know? You know what I'm saying? Okay. So, less than normal, but not little. That's definitely it. Because you have to have some of it just to fully understand. Comparison is helpful when it is relative to you, right? When it's relative to your reflection and your growth, that's when it's helpful. So my observation of my partners, now that I'm where I am, is that I could never relate to them mentally because they weren't ever experiencing these things that I was experiencing, and they had no interest in it. They had no interest in it, but they were deeply spiritual, maybe without knowing. The second one was more knowing. The first one was more like principled. Our principles were aligned, like our governance, the way that we existed in reality was similar from like a values plane, right? Politically very aligned, which is prime. Now the second one was not really as politically aligned. Not that it wasn't aligned, but in ways that were more culturally blurred. And that was okay because it was cultural, so it was still intriguing because it was new. It was like another language. It was another language. So it didn't really matter as much. But it's like all this growth and seeking and trying to become and trying to deeply understand the self through the body, usually always through the body. I mean, obviously through what else? Water. Neither one of them practiced yoga. Ever. Never came to a class with me. Once. I remember the first one came to one class with me. And he was so awkward, very tall, very big, just like a big person. Just like a person, like, whoa, a big person, And just like not in his body at all, and just so in his mind. And it just really, it ruined our relationship. And the addiction that they had to inhaled substances, I think ultimately ruined the relationship, because I know that person, without that reliance, would have been able to maintain like how do I say this? A more grounded nature. They would have been more grounded. Physically, definitely. Also mentally, obviously, because they all relate. So I would say that I would blame... That's not fair. I shouldn't say it's a blame. But it's like, what am I getting at here? I'm getting that people's, my ex-lovers, the reason why I've been able to attain this growth is in part thanks to that intense trauma and sadness and pain and all of those words that are related. So we say abuse lightly because there are a lot of different forms. But I have a hard time loving someone who has an addiction to any substance, consciously, unconsciously. Usually it's unconsciously. It's consciously, unconsciously, And that I just cannot get down with it. And I'm okay with, living your life. But there's a certain state of awareness that my body demands of me. And this is where I constantly come back to. This is why I'm integrating this nervous system work, because it is related to the nervous system. It is nervous system work. Everything is nervous system work. Everything is. This is why I like a clean space. I'm very sensitive to energies, to chaos, to sounds, to color, to everything around me. But cleanliness, big time cleanliness. The first one was absolutely filthy, 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 filthy. Creatively, wow. Creatively, entrepreneurial, wow. Vocally, wow. Intellect, wow. Wow. But physically, whoa. What? Okay. I think he was a Kapha Vata. Oh, that must be my type, huh? I think they're all Kapha Vatas. I'm a Pitta Vata dominant. So, oh, wow. The second one, very, very deceptive in the most honest and loving way. Totally nuts. Nuts. But so loving. Very earthy. Very difficult. Very strange opposition. Very strange opposition. I would expect that I come off as very earthy, And I don't know, also a little bit rigid, but also a little bit unknown, but more known than unknown. I think. I really don't know. I guess it would be dependent on the person, right? So, now that I'm out of that last relationship, I can see how naive I was in many ways. Oh man, how excited I was for a future that had already passed in this person's life. This is why I do not want to be with someone that's too much older than me. I really don't. I really want there to be just a few years. Preferably older, a few years. But not a lot. 5 max. This is just such an important time, and how do we know what to do right now with this world like this? We have no idea. Do we have kids? This is just such a strange time to be alive. What will the world be like? And I mean, I guess every generation has said this. But, you know, I did just spend 8 or 10 hours. I really could have spent longer. I think I spent at least 12 hours on my computer today. And that's just not a fulfilling reality. That's not a healthy reality. That's not a life that I want my children personally to have to live in. I don't remember the words I said before that. I was daydreaming. I'm sorry if I'm talking too closely. I was daydreaming and I was thinking, well, I could just like adopt or be a foster parent, which I would be okay with that. But at this point, I don't have anything to give, so I am steadily working. I have my goals. I have my plan. My plan starts, well, my plan started a long time ago. But to circle back around, I am trying to talk about how, I guess I'm trying to explain how good it feels to be where I'm at right now. I have absolutely nothing, and I feel so at peace with myself. I do. I feel very good. I feel very confident in my voice. I feel very confident in, even if I make comments about, oh, I look old and blah, blah, blah. I mean, I do, and I do feel like pieces of like pain. I don't know how to say this better. Fragments of, no, that sounds so fucking forced. You know what I'm saying. But this light is so bright. I thought I turned it all the way down. I start to talk really well, I always talk really slow. And then added on is the whole sleep factor, the being tired factor, because I was on my computer for 12 hours straight. Not straight, but seemingly straight. Probably. The only thing we can hope for is happiness and love. See, I said it again. I just said this the other day. Randomly, in a random stream of consciousness thought in one of those videos, I don't know. I don't even have time to upload all these videos. I'm recording so much, I don't even have time to. They take so long. And I'm a total novice. Yeah, but there is a little bit of what I was saying about feeling like we're running, like we're no longer running. Like, I have such a distinctive memory of having just turned 21 and just, I was trying so hard to get a job everywhere in New York City. And I was so frustrated. I was so fucking sad and frustrated. Oh my God. I cannot believe all of these times, how I have made it through. I cannot believe it. That in itself is beautiful. Those moments deserve big self-congratulations for courage and willpower. Courage and willpower. There's a lot of letting go of fear that we are forced to entertain in societies like this. Lots of that. Lots of putting yourself in uncomfortable places. Lots of faking it until you make it. Faking it until you making it. Lots of those. If you are not uncomfortable, or if you cannot think of the last time you were uncomfortable, wow. I challenge you to try something new, to go learn about something you've never known or studied about, to be a student, an adult learner, to ask a question that you're embarrassed to ask. I encourage you to be curious, and be confident about your unknowing. If more people were confident about their unknowing, what a great society this would be. Yeah. I am so tired, but I just keep talking. It's weird too when we're becoming these new versions of ourselves that have firmer boundaries, that are more protective of ourselves, that can make jokes with ourselves. Some people don't. They might not be there. They might not be there. They might not know that we're there. They might not know. I think the hardest part about this life is the interactions with people. Everyone else would say, yeah, of course. What? Of course it is. Of course that's the hardest part. No, I mean, there's a lot of hard parts, right? There are a lot of hard parts. It's funny, sometimes the hardest ones are the longest and the most difficult to address. Maybe because of how long they are, or maybe because of how long ago they happened. But sometimes on certain days, those moments feel very close and very palatable. So yeah. I'm starting to twitch. That's how I know that I'm about to fall asleep. I also just had this is so weird. I just had a very quick vision of all these people at a meeting. We were all coming to this meeting. And I guess the person who was holding the meeting was someone I was seeing, someone I was dating was hosting the meeting. And I guess they wanted me to observe it. And so everyone was coming in around this table. They were all bringing their hands into the table, okay, we're here. And then I woke up, and that happened in a split second. I won't know until I listen back to this. So I think I'll just leave it at that. I can't talk anymore. Okay. Thank you.